Welcome to the show. This is No Interference. We are your hosts, Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. We are moving along to week 15 of the NFL season. Got some juicy topics to talk about. Going to be somewhat of a quarterback-focused show, so bear with us. They run the league, so it is what it is. So we are going to get into it. First topic on our slate today, Justin Herbert of the LA Chargers. He had probably his best game of the year, and now the Herbert hype train is back in action. I would argue it's a little, I hate saying it, but I think he's bordering to...
You're a Justin Herbert hater.
No. I like Justin Herbert.
You've always been a fan of Joe Burrow, and you said he's better.
I think Joe Burrow is
probably an
I also
accurate
remember one of you guys texting in the Tri-Chi's chat, Herbert is garbage.
Okay, real quick. I am a Joe Burrow fan, and I said Joe Burrow reminds me of Peyton Manning. Some of the passes he makes, I think he is maybe the only quarterback in the league that can make that throw. But if you look at Herbert against the Dolphins, he was 39 of 51 for 367, averaging 7.2. I mean, that's average for someone who's attempting 50 passes, and he only threw one touchdown. I mean, he was moving around and evading sacks, which was cool, but
I think that, first off, it wasn't his best game of the year. I mean, he's had multiple games with 3 touchdowns. On the year, he has 21 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. That's with a super injured team. And not only Mike Williams and Keenan Allen being injured, but on the defensive side of the ball, they've been getting gashed once again by the run, which affects the quarterback in the offense because the more you're getting gashed by the run, the less time you're on the field. I think everybody has been talking about Herbert more this week, but is it more... The game in particular was Herbert versus Tua, right? They were picked one after another, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that was the big thing. Everyone's like, they're going to be linked forever. I don't agree with that because, I mean, there's other quarterbacks in that draft. But I think it was more about... I think it was less about overhyping Justin Herbert as it was solidifying that seeing him and Tua on the field at the same time. Justin Herbert's obviously the superior talent, God-given abilities with the athleticism, the throws he's able to make, which he's been doing since his rookie year. He can make Mahomes-esque throws. I think we can all agree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's on that level with Josh Allen, Mahomes, as far as pretty much being able to throw the ball wherever he wants on the field. Maybe he doesn't make the highlight athletic plays that Josh Allen does. Maybe he doesn't do the underhand throws or the crazy throws that Mahomes does, but he's got a little bit of both in there. He's just been, as you always say, Taylor, on the cursed Chargers team. If you put Justin Herbert on the Bengals, I think he would have been able to do similar to what Joe Burrow did last year. You
get away from the curse of the Chargers of anything is possible.
Hall of Fame.
It's just, so here's my biggest thing. I've always liked Herbert, but if you look at his stats, he's why can't I find it?
I got receipts that says otherwise, but we'll allow it.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, he's got 21 touchdowns to 7 interceptions with 4 games left. I guess he could get hot and get into the 30 touchdown range, which would make his season look a little bit better. Let's see. His completion percentage looks like it's roughly with his career average. He's not throwing the ball downfield as well, but his weapons have been iffy this year with injuries.
Yeah, his leading receiver this year is Josh Palmer.
Yeah, and then
I guess
DeAndre Carter out there running routes.
I guess my biggest thing is we haven't really heard anything about Herbert this year. And then he beat Tua in a game where, honestly, I think more so Tua lost the game than Herbert won the game. And now all I'm seeing is all these Herbert hype things and these, like, Patrick Mahomes came out and was like, Herbert, he was the best quarterback in the league. He can make passes that no quarterback can make. I was like, what's happening?
I think that it is mostly a media issue if he's being overhyped at the moment, because I don't really think he can be, like, I don't know. I just think his talent is good enough, and he showed in this league, this is his third year, that he is good enough to where he doesn't really fit the overhyped label. Maybe if you want to say, like, yeah, these other guys have been successful in the playoffs, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. So if you want to overhype that part of it, but I mean, he had 38 touchdowns last year. He had 15 interceptions. His rookie year,
31-10.
Yeah, 31-10. His completion percentage has been over, last year was 65.9, but between 66 and 67 this year, almost 68. 5,000 yards last year. I think he's done all that with the disadvantage of having a defensive-minded coach who can't coach a good defense and dealing with injuries all over the team, offense and defense. So, yeah, he's getting talked about more this week, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just one of the people that likes him so much, because I was one of the people that said I would take him over Joe Burrow.
Me as well. I mentioned earlier, he is the first passer to have 13,056 passing yards the first 3 seasons of his career, passing Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning. 2 pretty good quarterbacks to be in company with.
It's debatable. I mean, this does go back to this would never this would never happen. But that's like I said. I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago. If I were the Chargers at the end of the season, I would call up the Eagles and offer them 3 firsts for AJ Brown.
I mean, AJ Brown would be good to make any team better when healthy. My one other point I wanted to make with Justin Herbert was they are 7-6 at the moment, and are they in the wild card spot at the moment?
I think they're the 7th seed right now. They knocked out the Jets. No, yeah, they knocked out the Jets, I think.
Okay. Well, they're in the hunt, borderline in the playoffs right now. That mostly has to do with Justin Herbert. Take Justin Herbert off that team and put any of the mid to low tier quarterbacks. They're not 7-6, most likely.
I love to swap quarterbacks with the Chargers for Washington. Put Terry McLaurin and Justin Herbert together. What a combo that could be.
Yep. I don't know. I hope he's so talented, and he seems like a good high character guy. I hope he finds success, whether it's with the Chargers or not with the Chargers. And I do think if he is overhyped right now, I think it's deserved, because he is that good. And I mean, I think he's better than Tua. Not that was a question, but that's why he's getting overhyped this week. I think a lot of the conversation has been that.
All right, that's fair. Chargers do go to, Tennessee is going to.
West Side gave up. Everyone mark that down. Sass wins.
I'm just hosting. Don't shoot the messenger. Tennessee is going to LA this week. Titans have a just god awful secondary. but I'm hoping the King can get going and that crap Chargers defense just throws the game away.
I need Herbert to score a few touchdowns for fantasy, so.
No, I'm done with him. He failed me in fantasy.
That'd be a tough game for the Titans.
Don't want to lose.
Tough game for the Chargers.
Don't want to lose 4 straight. Moving forward, unfortunately, it looks like Kyler Murray, done for the year with a torn ACL, went down in like the first drive of the game.
First few plays.
Yeah, I think it was the third play. The Cardinals, they're just falling apart. Season was going nowhere. Kyler has been playing awful, and now he's out for the year with a knee injury. Who knows how that will affect him? Cliff Kingsbury is probably getting fired at the year. There's a Cardinals GM that stepped down a couple days ago.
He apparently has some health concerns.
Regardless, he stepped down. Not looking good.
Yeah, the Kyler Murray injury was definitely the cherry on top of the poop Sunday you can call the Arizona Cardinals season.
So gross.
Colt McCoy just crumbled. Yeah, he was a decent backup quarterback. He's not going to take you anywhere.
Well, I felt bad for Cliff Kingsbury during the game. I don't know if you guys were watching it live, but he had the sideline interview. I think Pam Oliver or whoever it is. Was she on that game? I don't remember. I can't remember. Shouldn't have even said her name. I felt bad for him because he did look, I don't know if that's how he always looks, but he looked like he was on the verge of tears. Of course, he probably is close to Kyler Murray, even though it seems like they've had arguments this year, but that's with any competitive nature in people in sports. I always just was under the assumption they look like an annoyed couple who didn't want to be together, but he did look. My first thought was I felt bad for him because he looked upset. He's like, my job's definitely gone now, but it's probably mostly because Kyler Murray's injured. And this whole situation dates back to the off season when we were making our predictions, and you both, I think Taylor especially, mentioned what happens or what seems to happen with Kyler Murray every year in the Cardinals, and to this year it's been the worst possible scenario. They haven't been competitive really at all, and Kyler Murray went down with a season-ending injury. He's not even able to play. Previous years they've started off hot, gotten worse. He's gotten nicked up. Is it his size? Is it just he's one of those players that gets beat up, doesn't perform as well at the end of the year? So just a tough thing.
Yeah. And I always say I don't want to beat up on Kyler too much, and I feel like I bring him up every freaking episode. But we can branch off this because I think this comes into this does affect two things, at least in my opinion. He just got that huge deal, and there's another mobile young stud quarterback in Lamar Jackson that's waiting for his payday. Do you think this injury gives the Ravens more hesitation with signing him?
I don't think it gives the Ravens. I wouldn't. If I was the Ravens, I wouldn't feel hesitation because I don't think Lamar Jackson has showed the same repetitive issues. I know Lamar got injured last year.
He just 2 weeks ago got a knee injury.
But I think that Lamar Jackson, and maybe this isn't true, maybe he's like he didn't get paid yet. Maybe he was, erring on the side of caution with the injury. He's not paid yet. It's obviously, he's his own agent. It's always tough with the quarterbacks who are more mobile, but at this point, almost every quarterback is athletic and can run around. So the whole do I want to pay him because he can move? I think that's any team should throw that out the window if that's your thinking, because maybe you don't want to pay Lamar because he could get hurt, but what are the odds that you're going to find a quarterback that's as good as Lamar? And any of those Ravens fans out there that say Huntley can do what Lamar does is an idiot. I'm sorry. I like Huntley,
Little Snoop.
but maybe he could play just as good as Lamar. But Lamar Jackson was an MVP 3 years ago. I don't know. I think the Ravens should pay him, and he's carried their team the last few years, and it wouldn't give me pause if I was a Ravens owner.
Maybe add some weapons, help him out.
Yeah, give him a little help on the outside.
Yeah, if I were the Ravens, I don't think Kyler Murray were to sway me anyway. I'd just be worried about Lamar himself. His own injuries would be what I was worried about.
Yeah, now if I was the Cardinals, I might have a little bit of buyer's remorse because now this has shown up multiple times.
Yeah,
as I said, Kyler's this is the worst case situation.
Kyler showed basically that he cannot make it through an NFL season. I don't think he's played an entire season ever in his career.
Yeah, what was Lamar Jackson's injury last year?
Ankle,
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you could, he got injured this year with the knee. Last year's ankle, but he hasn't seemed the seasons he's made it through the year. He doesn't seem to be beat up or worn out by the time the playoffs start.
No, he's
at least not to my
he's a bigger
eye.
build.
Yeah,
and he also, and it drives me crazy when I watch like the Titans play the Ravens. Like no one ever gets like a big hit on him.
Yeah, I've always felt that he doesn't ever seem to get hit hard. Kyler Murray, he makes these crazy plays as well, and I can't say off the top of my head I really do know the time I've seen him get hit really hard, but he's just so small. Like,
yeah, plus that was non-contact anyway. The last tearing his ACL.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And but maybe he's just one of those guys that gets those soft tissue, bumps and bruises and weak knees.
So we're saying he should have went with baseball.
Well, he got paid either way, so
yeah. Well, then this brings me to my last point regarding Kyler. Excuse me. So we're talking about Kyler. He's small. Can he make it through the rigors of an NFL season? There's in the draft coming up, Alabama's quarterback Bryce Young, who's had an outstanding college career, but he's listed at all of. Now I can't find it.
Whatever he's listed as, it's generous and probably more than he is.
He is listed officially as 6'1", 194. From what I've heard from some people,
Nick Saban's got Taylor on his ear.
Well, what I've heard from people talking about it on the radio and some like early draft shows, he's probably going to measure in at like 5'10", 180.
There's no way he's 5'10". He looks taller than Kyler. I mean, I could be wrong, but I was going to say before you said that, Kyler Murray is listed as 207. He is a little bit more, thick for a,
Bryce Young
guy.
looks like a stick figure.
But Bryce Young has, it would worry me too if I was a team drafting him, but I don't know. The size thing, Devontae Smith, for instance, completely different position. I get it. But I was weary of the Eagles drafting him. And I think we all talked about it. I think you guys were different. I think you both liked him either way. I think RJ especially. I was like, I don't know if he can play in the NFL. He's just too small. And yeah, does it take a finger to tackle him? But he can, he's probably a top 15 route runner, and his hands are amazing. He can get separation. Yeah, so it's different. I know, but
his touchdown against the Titans was a beautiful route.
He makes good plays.
Head fake.
But my point was that Bryce Young, he's small, but if you look at mock drafts and everything, the the profile on him is that he can make all the throws accurate and he's intelligent. He can, run an offense. So, I mean, if he has all the right tools and can process things quickly and make smart plays, not get hit, maybe he'll be all right. I don't remember how we got into that conversation.
Talk about Kyler Murray's frame.
Yeah,
lasting through
how
NFL
Kyler
season.
Murray's shown he can't make it through a season, and Bryce Young's a similar build. And are you investing an early first round pick in him when he could take a hit from like Chase Young? And like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I just thinking, like I said about Lamar Jackson, I think in general it's tough for teams to a guy who's performed for 3 years, maybe gotten nicked up, maybe not, and just to say you might get injured or you might be injured throughout your career. I'm going to let you walk in free agency. It's so hard to find franchise quarterbacks. I just don't think that's ever going to be a philosophy or should be a philosophy for teams to go by, but you got to live with it if that's what happens.
Fair enough. On to the next topic. Micah Parsons went on Von Miller's show. Is it just called the Von Show or something like that?
Voncast or something.
Von something.
The
And
Von Cast.
he was asked, is it Kyler Murray or is it Jalen Hurts or is it the team? And he danced around it a little bit, but he said 100. I'm pretty sure he said it's the team, right?
I thought he's the one that said, "Is it Hurts or is it the team?"
Oh, maybe I have it backwards.
Yeah.
Yes. Vaughn was asking about Hurts as an MVP, and then Micah Parsons responded, "Is it Hurts or is it the team?"
Yeah,
sounds like a hater.
Yeah, he didn't dance around it. He because Von Miller said he was like, I think it's a little bit of both, and Mike Parsons like fell back in his chair like, I can't believe you said that.
Fool.
He just needs to hope Lane Johnson doesn't put him in clamps again.
Well, he's gonna lose out on Defensive Player of the Year. I know that. He ain't getting that.
I like the Eagles' responses. Jalen Hurts and Jordan Mailata were the two that both said something. And
he said, "We're playing Chicago this week, not Micah Parsons."
Yeah, he said we're not playing the Chicago Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts says, they asked him, and he said we're playing the Chicago Bears this week. But I don't know. I think that I'm the Eagles fan here, so I'm more biased, and I do think that Jalen Hurts should win MVP. But if the season ended today and Patrick Mahomes got MVP, I wouldn't be like, what? This is blasphemous. Like, what year was it that I can't remember. Either way, any good player, like what good player in the NFL is good regardless of like MVP caliber? Let's not say good, because there are good players in the NFL regardless of scheme. But what player wins MVP regardless of scheme? A lot of the examples have been Patrick Mahomes. You're telling me Andy Reid's not one of the best offensive minds of all time? People are like, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have anything.
Travis
and I'm not hating. I think Patrick Mahomes is having an MVP year. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins MVP. If he wins it, he deserved it. And he is having a really good year. And he proved us all wrong because we had the Chiefs not making the playoffs without Tyreek Hill. But he has Travis Kelce. He has
great O-line.
An O-line that's playing better. Do they have a run game? No. But
Pacheco is pretty solid. Pacheco.
He is good, but before him, the Chiefs are one of the teams where they're like, we can't run the ball. Oh, well, Patrick Mahomes go throw it 60 times and we'll still be efficient. Andy Reid.
Well, if the story that they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire because of Patrick Mahomes is true, then that's his own fault they can't run the ball.
That's true. But Yeah, I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is playing well because of Jalen Hurts, and he. The other thing too, somebody else made a comment on it, is that if you put another player in the Eagles in that scheme, are they going to be able to do the same thing? Jalen Hurts is like almost one of a kind, as in he can like, could he probably be like a 750-yard rusher as a running back? Like he's pretty big.
I think he could be a 1,000-yard rusher as a running back.
Maybe not that. I don't know if he has quite that kind of speed, but I think he could still. I think he could be like a goal line back and get like if he was a running back and put on a little bit more weight. I think he could be like a like like a power. I don't know. I'm getting off topic now,
Mike
but
is wrong.
I don't think that if you put another quarterback in the Eagles scheme, they're going to be able to do the same thing. He has 22 touchdowns passing. He has 10 rushing touchdowns. That's only like 2 or 3 touchdowns behind Patrick Mahomes. I think that Jalen Hurts has elevated Miles Sanders by what he's able to do. That obviously opens things up because you're having to deal with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, you could almost argue that Jalen Hurts is the scheme. The RPOs, the everything. Obviously, AJ Brown, that addition elevates the quarterback, but you're still throwing the ball. And I think he's the most accurate quarterback in the pocket since Drew Brees, like however many years ago, I can't remember.
I mean, if you look at his numbers, he has 3,000 yards passing. He's averaging over 8 yards an attempt. He's got 68 completion percentage, which is ridiculous. 22 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, which I think is crazy because he's not just dumping the ball off and checking down. He is attacking downfield. Historically, the only quarterback that puts up this kind of touchdown interception ratio with that aggressiveness is Aaron Rodgers, who has been owning the MVP race since he came into the league, basically. And then on top of that, he has almost 700 yards rushing. He's averaging 4.9 yards a carry, and he has 10 rushing touchdowns. Like you said, he is their goal line weapon. The Eagles are basically unstoppable in short yardage situations. And people are like saying, oh, well, he has all these weapons. Okay, he has AJ Brown, who, this is my thing. I've always said that I think AJ Brown is arguably one of the best receivers in the league. And people always tell me, well, he's a 1, but I wouldn't say he's one of the best. Now all of a sudden, because Hurts is going to win MVP, people are like, oh, AJ Brown's carrying him. Devontae Smith is solid, but look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's number 2 is T. Higgins, and I like Devontae Smith, but I think T. Higgins is a little better than him. Look at Dak. He had CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. What'd he do with them? Nothing really. So I don't think it's fair to say it's the team.
Yeah,
those are valid points. Go ahead, RJ.
So it's pretty obvious that his MVP play is what is leading the Eagles to this 12-1 record. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, and he also has the X factor of being a leader, and obviously all the hard worker, and obviously all the players and coaches love him, and that elevates your team. Obviously, if you don't like your quarterback, swear to God, I don't know what happened. But like that was a good point you made about AJ Brown, because I think it was Michael Irvin. He was like, AJ Brown's a top 3 receiver. I'm like, when has AJ Brown ever been talked about as being a top 3 receiver? Is he amazing? I think so. And maybe he is a top 3 receiver.
I think he's the best receiver in the league, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. But
gotta give it to Justin Jefferson, but
Yeah, maybe
give AJ Brown Justin Jefferson's volume, and it wouldn't be fair.
Well, I mean,
I'd take Jalen Hurts over Kirk Cousins.
Facts.
I think most of America would.
Yeah, but that's my Micah Parsons. I'm not against what Micah Parsons, trash talking. I like it. It's rivalry. I don't want the Cowboys to be like, oh, Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. Can't wait to play him. I like, the trash talking because if anything that.
Yeah, but at least say something that's a little more smart than that. A little more validity to it.
Yeah, I mean, I do. At the same time, I was going to say, I think it's if anything, you're putting a chip on Jalen Hurts' shoulder. Obviously, he already has a full bag of potato chips on his back because he said last week after the game, he says I can't remember what his quote was, something about scars.
Probably since Tua took his job in Alabama.
Exactly. He's been going through it since he was in college, adversity and whatnot. And can't wait for Christmas Eve. I tell you what.
Here's my last point. The thing with Hurts, they played the Packers, and they clearly identified that they couldn't contain him. Hurts runs for over 150 yards. If you watch that game, he left yards on the table on the field because he didn't need to. He didn't need them. But he could have very easily, if he was going all out and the game was like, if it was a close game, they needed it, he could have dropped 200 rush yards and 3 rushing touchdowns on the Packers. Then they go play the Titans. Titans have one of the best run Ds in the league. It's literally the only thing they're good at on defense. And then Hurts just slings the ball all over the place and has one of his best passing games against the Titans. And that versatility is, you already said it, it's why the Eagles have the record they do. So things can change. We still have 4 games left. But if we had to vote right now, I think Hurts is easily the MVP.
Agreed.
Outside of what Micah Parsons said and just MVP talk, I do think, just quick last note, I do think Mahomes is probably going to fall under that category, similar to LeBron in the NBA, where he is so good that you don't want to give it to him every single year. So I do understand that. And that might give Hurts an advantage, but I do think it's not like Hurts doesn't deserve it. So that's my 2. Like you said, there's 4 weeks left. If Hurts comes out and throws 10 touchdowns in the next 4 weeks and continues the same pace, I think 40 touchdowns with less than 6 interceptions. MVP to me.
I mean,
MVP.
So let's look into the Week 15 slate of games. We can just go through this real quick. Don't have to stay on it forever. Thursday Night Football, that's tonight. San Francisco versus the Seahawks. Seahawks definitely need this win if they want to stay alive in the wild card race. I don't know if they announced if Brock Purdy was going to play or not yet. I mean, I guess they would have by now.
Wait, why wouldn't he play?
He was having some injury issues this week.
I didn't know about that.
I can actually check. They definitely announced it already.
He's not on the injury report.
Okay, so he's playing.
Yeah, he's playing.
Well, I think I love the Seahawks. I like what they've done this year, but with the 49ers defense and they have Christian McCaffrey to hand the ball to him. I don't see how the Seahawks win this game.
Their only chance is if Geno Smith has an amazing game with Lockett and DK Metcalf. I mean, like you just said, the 49ers defense is really good. I think it's probably the best defense in the league, and they have the best rush defense, I think. It's
hard to score on them.
Seahawks running back. What's his name?
Kenneth Walker.
Walker. He's still a little banged up, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's playing this week.
So Tough game for the Seahawks. They need it. And I don't think the 49ers are invincible. I mean, what's his name? Birdie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, this is his second game starting ever. Like, if he can manage the game, sure, that's fine. Be a mini Garoppolo. And like you said, I do think Christian McCaffrey's going to have a big game. That's why I think the 49ers are going to win. But Debo's out. Brandon Ayuk came out weird. He's been playing well this year, but
after a slow start too.
Yeah, I wouldn't write off I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 24-21 49ers. Maybe even lower than that.
I think the Seahawks will be lucky to score 20. But what do I know? Next game on the schedule, Saturday games. I forgot we had Saturday games this week.
Yep.
1 o'clock on Saturday, we have the Indianapolis Colts in Minnesota taking on the Vikings. Vikings have looked a little vulnerable lately, but the Colts I think they're just dead. Like, they have nothing left.
Yeah, I think the Colts had their little spurt of competitiveness when Saturday came along, and the Vikings, the Indianapolis' defense is, it's not like, I don't think the Colts are a team where, what's the spread? 4.
Yeah,
plus 4. So, I mean, I think that's fair. But I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota wins by 10 or more.
Yeah.
Same.
Next up, Ravens at Cleveland taking on the Browns. I believe the Browns are 3-point favorites. No Lamar Jackson. Ravens aren't sure which quarterback is going to be starting for them. Maybe Deshaun Watson, his third game back. Maybe he finally gets back to he's cooked already.
Did you guys see that video of that lady?
No.
It was Deshaun Watson. Was it Deshaun Watson? I'll send it to you later, but it was hilarious. This lady had the perfect response to Deshaun Watson playing. But yeah, I don't think he's really going to be that effective this year. He hasn't really shown that last week. He didn't show it last week was his first week, right?
No, second week.
Second week, yeah. I don't know. I think, Lamar Jackson's probably not playing.
He's not. It'll be Huntley or
Huntley's possibly not playing.
Yeah, or Anthony.
Concussion protocol. He's cleared.
Anthony Brown.
Cleared concussion.
They did.
So, I mean, if the Ravens can do what they did last week and run J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins runs weird, or his knees fucked up, because when he was running that long play, it looked weird. Maybe that's just the way he runs. Some players run weird, like J.J. on the Eagles. Like, he always ran weird, and that doesn't look right. So I don't know what it is with J.K. Dobbins, but he was effective last week, and if they can do that, and their defense, tightens their tie a little bit, they should be able to beat the Browns.
Browns defense is getting healthy. Garrett and Clowney are playing pretty good right now. It'll be a defensive, grinded out game, I think. So we'll see. Then the last game for Saturday night, the Miami Dolphins are going up to Buffalo, take on the Bills. Real quick about this game, did you guys see that when the Dolphins were playing the Chargers, they were having heaters being used on the field?
I didn't, because I saw a lot of reports about how they were wearing shirts like it should be colder.
Yeah. So so when they played the Chargers and lost, it was like 55 degrees in LA, and they apparently were having heaters and all this stuff. Now they're going to go to Buffalo, where it's going to be freezing, blistering winds, and all the Dolphins players are like saying, like Tua was like, it snows in Alabama too, and I'm like, keep saying that.
I don't understand. I've never understood why Bills is different because that stadium gets swirly with wind and whatnot. And what's the temperature? Is it's like supposed to be like sub freezing or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, yeah. As a I could see how it's hard for a quarterback to throw in the cold. If your hands are cold, put some gloves on or something. It's not that hard. But the rest of the team, I just don't understand. Like, you should be able to play football. You're professionals. Like, whether it's cold, whether you're a team in Miami, like, have you never been cold weather before? You're in the NFL. Like, you should be playing in cold games.
Lamar
They have
Jackson.
indoor practice fields. Crank that thing down to 30.
Oh, jeez.
Put the ball on ice before you throw it or something. I don't know.
Say,
Ice bags at the players as they're
Adjust,
running.
adapt, survive.
So, I think the Bills are going to win though.
there's a scenario where the Dolphins miss out on the playoffs, so they lose to the Bills and they lose to the Jets. The following week or whatever, the next time they play the Jets.
I think they'll lose to the Bills. I think it'll be a tough game. I've been waiting for Josh Allen to show up with that MVP caliber play he showed early in the season. Maybe his elbows hurt. I don't know. But I think the Dolphins. I don't think they're going to look that bad. I think it's just going to be a tough loss, and they'll make the playoffs.
I think the Bills just need to get a friggin' running back. Singletary's having by far his best year, but like if you're the Bills, do you like go after Josh Jacobs in free agency this year?
Ooh.
There's a lot of running backs available.
Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Saquon Barkley. There's a couple other ones I can't remember.
I would, but if Josh Jacobs is going to be offered money in Las Vegas, he's not signing with the Bills.
No,
unless you care about winning. But Josh McDaniels, I said it before the season. The one thing he does is running backs on his team score touchdowns, and they score. They get ran a lot, and
they also records.
You were right about that. I do remember you saying that.
Now, yes, they do have a losing record, and winning's important. But I would rather make a lot of money in Las Vegas than a lot of money in Buffalo.
How long till McDaniels gets fired? Because I said it since the beginning. He does not deserve to be a head coach.
The report
I don't think he's going to get fired.
The report is he's not going to get fired because of all the money that he's guaranteed, and the Raiders don't have a lot of cash on hand to deal with that.
Those damn Davises are only good at drafting speedy receivers, I swear.
The other thing that's unfortunate, too, is because I think part of the reason why they traded for Adams was because of Derek Carr and to elevate Derek Carr. Is Derek Carr under contract?
Probably gonna look that up.
Where's our stat guy? I would think about letting Derek Carr walk if he's a free agent.
Bye-bye.
And trading Devontae Adams. Re-sign Josh Jacobs. I don't know.
He's under contract next year, but the dead cap would only be $5 million if you cut him.
It's not bad.
So there's an option.
If you're RJ is your owner.
RJ was right though about Josh McDaniels. Here are your flowers.
So that will wrap up the Saturday games. We got way off topic, but whatever. Going into Sunday, we have the Falcons versus the Saints. At the Saints, that'll be
Desmond Ridder starting.
Desmond Ritter's.
Excited to see. He was one of my top guys in his pre-draft ranking quarterbacks. Liked him a lot. Sorry to see
And
Mariota.
we didn't really talk about the whole Mariota thing with him apparently like bailing on the team after they announced he wasn't going to be the starter anymore.
Well, they should cut him.
I mean,
He ain't got nothing to play for, Mariota. You played good this year, but you didn't win.
Earlier in the season too about revitalizing his career in Atlanta and all this other stuff, and then
he had to have known he wasn't going to be the long-term thing there.
Well, I also think if you're the Falcons,
they wouldn't throw the. Arthur Smith was like, we got to run other things. We can't throw the ball to our unicorn and Drake London because Mariota's too handicapped.
Well, yeah, the Falcons are having a bad year. They're going to have an early draft pick. If you're Arthur Smith, maybe you do want to lose more games out the year to get a better draft pick, but you also got to see what Ritter has because you probably are going to be in the range to take a new quarterback if Ritter shows that he's just god awful these last 4 games, you'd be like, oh, never mind. But maybe
even if he is bad these last 4 games, he looked good in the preseason. He coming out of college, he was said to be the most pro ready. Was that the?
Yeah, I think we said too he was maybe like the safest, like low.
Well, RJ was really high on him.
Low ceiling, high floor kind of guy.
Sam Howell's actually looked as one of the most ready.
Sam Howell's my favorite quarterback.
Yeah, he was slipped to Washington, but yeah, we'll see, and then see what the Falcons do with Calvin Ridley next year.
They already traded him.
He's on the Jags.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It already happened. Totally
Unfortunately,
I do remember that happened.
He's already putting bets down on them Jacksonville Jaguars.
But I do like the Falcons in this game. I think the Saints, they're done. The Falcons seem to show more fight when their games I've watched this year.
It's pretty good.
Then moving forward, we have the Steelers at Carolina Panthers. Steelers apparently don't know who they're going to be playing at quarterback. They said Trubisky's not a lock to play.
Garbage.
He threw 3 picks after Pickett got hurt.
He was so bad last week.
So bad. I was a big Trubisky guy. I was hoping he'd turn around and go Pittsburgh with the Yins, but more like nose.
3 red zone interceptions.
So, are we rolling with Carolina? All right.
What's their coach Wilkes? He seemed to have been getting a little bit of juice out of them.
He was. I thought he was the Carolina Panther. He was a Cardinals coach, and then 1 year, and they fired him for Cliff Kingsbury. Then we go forward to the 1:00 games. We have the Philadelphia Eagles at Chicago Bears.
I got the Bears.
Bum bum bum.
Tell me why.
That's a joke. You're an idiot.
I don't think the Bears should be. I'm hoping the Eagles are done looking over opponents after what Washington did to us, screw you, and what the Colts almost did to us, and the Texans gave them a hard time. Justin Fields can move around a little bit, but that's the only dimension of their offense. The Eagles should be able to handle that.
Going back to
the Eagles,
a hard time.
The Eagles should win.
The Cowboys done a really hard time against the Texans out of all of our teams that played them so far this year.
Don't get me started on that. I was so angry. I was more angry about that, I think, than I was when the Eagles lost.
The Eagles need 11 more sacks this year to be the 5th defense since 2000 to have 60 sacks.
They can definitely do that in those games.
Imagine if Robert Quinn did anything.
Well, he's on IR right now.
Oh. Well, before that, he wasn't doing anything.
No, he wasn't. I think they were trying to save him for the playoffs, maybe. It's crazy how many sacks they have compared to last year. Last year, they had 28 or something.
Yeah, I remember you texted that in the chat earlier this week.
Yeah. They should win by more than 10. I would hope.
All right, take it to the bank. Moving on. We have the Chiefs are at the Houston Texans. Chiefs.
20-plus win.
Davis Mills we trust. I mean,
he's not even playing anymore.
Oh, tits.
It's Kyle Allen.
Oh, God.
The Texans used all their juice last week. It was the most embarrassing thing I ever saw in the red zone after they intercepted Dak Prescott. They could have won, and it was a debacle, a disgrace. I said it over text. Lovie Smith should have been fired after the game.
Fair enough.
Not really, but it was a disgrace. The Chiefs are going to light them up.
Yep, agreed. Next game, Cowboys are at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jags with the upset.
Trevor?
I hope the Jaguars upset them. I think it's going to be a tough game. Trevor Lawrence has been playing really well the last month or so. Jaguars also forced turnovers.
So here's my thing. The Jaguars aren't really great against stopping the run, and Trevor Lawrence had his best game when the Titans literally pressured him one time the entire game. The Cowboys are going to get more than one pressure.
I think if they get it, if Dak Prescott, I think it'll come down to is if Dak Prescott has the same kind of performance he did last week, the Jacksonville Jaguars won't do what the Texans did. They'll probably handle business fairly easily. But like you said, the Cowboys have a pass rush, and they have a run game they can utilize.
They also have a giant turd named Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I think I would love to see the Jaguars upset the Cowboys, but I have the Cowboys as a winner. Next game on the slate, Detroit Lions are going to the New York Jets. This is a big game because the Lions, if they keep winning, they can maybe sneak into the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Jets are trying to stay alive in the NFC East. But I like the Lions. They're really hot right now.
Me as well, I think.
Me as well, yeah.
Jared Goff is playing great. Their defense is doing enough to not lose them games.
RJ mentioned a minute ago, Jameson Williams' first game gets a 50-yard touchdown or whatever.
Yeah, it's 40 points.
He came out of college as speedster playmaker, so.
Yeah, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown's having a career year. He's continuing on his
great
dominance. Year. Yeah, he's third behind Calvin Johnson. He just got some record. I can't remember what it was. I don't know if it's receptions or was it yards or touchdowns, but by any Lions receiver.
Nice, good for him. Yeah. Next game on the slate. Oh my God, this is the worst game of the week. Cardinals at Broncos.
Oof, that must be the biggest bust money game of all time. You got Russell Wilson over there who housed the Broncos, and all he had to do was say, "That's right." Took their whole Halloween candy and everything. And you got Kyler Murray, who just spent all that money on COD points and clearly wasn't working his leg out good enough to tear his ACL in a non-contact injury. Poor teams. But
Broncos should win this just with their defense on. Broncos should win this game with their defense.
Their offense is just so bad.
I'm not picking the Cardinals for nothing.
Colt McCoy ain't gonna be doing nothing.
He ain't no.
All right, fine.
I got the Broncos scoring one one defensive touchdown. Give me a Patrick Surtain pick six.
I was gonna say the same thing. Surtain pick six.
No,
they win 10 to.
West Side bold prediction. It's gonna be a tie, 13-13.
Ooh,
that's
spicy.
Generous. I say 10-3. Neither offense has scored a touchdown. Is Russell Wilson playing? Doesn't matter. Neither team's scoring a touchdown. Patrick Surtain does.
All right.
7-6.
Moving on in the 4:00 hour, the New England Patriots are going to visit the Las Vegas Raiders. McDaniel's going to crack at Bill Belichick. What do we think?
That Patriots defense is good.
I think the Patriots are going to smoke them.
Yeah.
I think it's in Vegas. I think Mac Jones is a fine quarterback, but I think he definitely he's not really made for the bad weather games.
Also, maybe you give him number one wide receiver, he'd have a little better of a time out there.
That's true. I like the Patriots in this. They're trying to stay alive in the playoffs. Raiders are done.
Gassing with Ramondre.
Bill Belichick, yeah, Ramondre. Well, Belichick just if you're if you're a tough runner on Belichick's team, you're gonna look good. And their defense is playing really well. So I'm gonna take the Patriots this week. I don't know about a blowout, but I'm taking the Patriots.
I'm taking the Pats.
I think they'll win by more than 10.
I need Devontae to score at least 2 touchdowns. Actually, not this week. Next week, I lied. Bye week.
All right. Next game on the slate, the Tennessee Titans are going to the LA Chargers.
I gotta say, I think it's a bad matchup for the Chargers. I think for the Titans. I think if Henry can go nuclear and have like a 200-yard game, you guys should be able to win. Keep the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands, but if that's not the case and Justin Herbert has plenty of time to sit back there and throw the ball around, it's going to be a long day, I think.
Yeah, I need to see the injury report. If Traylon Burks comes back and Danico Autry come back and Christian Fulton come back, I feel a lot better about this game. But the Titans have so many players on IR that I know will not be playing. It makes it tough. And then, of course, this is the week that Joey Bosa might come back. And Titans have the worst left tackle, debatable in league history. So that's not going to be bueno. But, yeah, I'm just going to have to hope and pray to the King that he
protect me.
That he can keep going after last week. People were like, oh, he had 100 yards in the first half, but only 2 yards in the second half. I'm like, well, he only had 2 carries in the second half because the Titans were behind so bad. He's also, Henry's also, not to get off topic, he's having one of his best receiving years. Like, the Titans are finally checking down to him, which is good.
Never understood why they didn't do that.
Yeah, so bulldozer, even no matter how he takes the ball.
But yeah, if you're putting money on the game, I would go the Chargers, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Titans. The Titans haven't had a Titans upset yet all year, so maybe this is it. Next game on the slate, the Bengals are going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Bengals are going to remain hot. And
Joey Bean squad.
Yeah, I think the Bengals win easily.
Yeah. I don't think Tampa Bay will get blown out like they did last week to the 49ers.
That was bad.
It's possible. They're just not that great. But I think they have enough experience to not let that happen. But I think you're right. I think the Bengals do stay hot and maybe like 30-20, 24-17.
Fair. Then Sunday night, this is a very important game
of the week.
We talked about it last week on the show. Giants at Washington Commanders. This is basically
a playoff game
for the playoffs.
I got a hot take on this one.
All right.
Washington wins by 20.
Oof, I'd love to see it.
I think the Giants are just floating in the ocean. Brian Dable doesn't have a life vest. It's not looking good. The Sharks are swarming.
What you know about going down in the deep?
Chase Young's back this week.
He should.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to get after Daniel Jones. Kind of the blueprint that the Eagles used last week. Miles Sanders had his best game of his career. Brian Robinson, I'm sure, will go off. As long as Heineke can not turn the ball over and make a couple of good passes to Terry McLaurin and company. And Washington defense, it's simultaneously been pretty good since Heineke got the starting job. So
I said last week
for the Giants
on the pod.
I like the Washington.
Yeah,
Washington's defense is very underrated. It's one of the better defenses in the league. Just need to avoid the turnovers, play to their strengths. Like I said, this game is potentially for the playoffs, so it's a very important game.
Got some key pieces coming back besides Chase Young too. I think Benjamin St. Juice is coming back.
St. Juice.
Wes Schweitzer.
If Saquon Barkley is beat up and not able to really do anything like last week, he seemed like he barely played. Well, they showed more highlights of him offside.
Did you see the last 4 weeks Daniel Jones has outrushed Barkley?
4 weeks. 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 4 we Yeah, I mean, that's all they have. I mean, it was a fun story in the beginning of the year. Daniel Jones was running crazy. The offense looked Brian Dabble looked like, finally someone was coaching Daniel Jones to his ability. But they have no receivers. They have no weapons besides Saquon Barkley. Their defense is mediocre. It just finally caught up to them. Teams had tape.
Yeah, in the last episode, I said if the Eagles beat down the Giants, which they did, I was hoping for, I think it gives us a way better opportunity to actually get the W this time and solidify that spot.
Yep.
But as of right now, the whole division is still in the playoffs.
I thought the Giants were out of it.
Nope. Since the Seahawks lost, they got pushed to the 7th seed.
Gotcha.
And then the Monday Night Football game, the LA Rams visit the Green Bay Packers.
Another shit game.
Yeah,
but,
give me the Packers.
Christian Watson and Rodgers have gotten a little bit of fire.
I don't want anything to do with the Rams anymore.
I mean, it was really cool to see what Baker did. Yeah, but it was really cool to see that last drive. The headbutt after, I was a little worried. I was like, his badass is what it is. He just shook it off.
I mean, I'm a Baker guy, but it's just they're banged up. The whole team just looks like they're done.
Packers should get the dub. Yeah, maybe AJ Dillon get a nice little tutty for your boy. He had one last week. He had 20 points last week.
Yeah, Packers. Christian Watson, Aaron Rodgers, maybe ayahuasca. Who knows?
Well, anything else you guys want to talk about today?
I think that'll do. That'll do, Pig. That'll do.
That'll do, Pig.
If you're from New York, don't talk to me until the game's over.
Well, that does it for our show. We are going into week 15 of the NFL season. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, like, subscribe, share the episode, share the channel. If you want, follow us on social media at the NI Show on Twitter and Instagram. It's on one of these corners. I never remember which one. We are also on Spotify now. We will add that link into our bios so you can find it.
There.
It's already there, so why aren't you? Maybe you are listening to us on Spotify, so whatever suits you best. But again, thanks for everyone that gives us a listen and interacts with the show. And hope you enjoy the upcoming weekend of football. So adios.
See you later.
Peace.